Okay, we're in section 4.2.3, related Sage code. And let's go through it. Reset. Two variables, x and y. Equation 1. And that's being assigned x times y is equal to 6. Equation 2 is being assigned x squared star y, that's multiplication of y, plus x star y squared plus x plus y, and that's equal to 63. All right, S is going to be assigned the solution of, and we'll go through that for you, a system of equations. These are nonlinear. There's a list of them. Equation 1. Oh, you know what? Let me do solve first. I'm sorry. Solve the system. Whoops. Equation 1, equation 2, and we're going to solve that for x and y, the ordered pair. All right, it solved it. Got an answer down there. And now I'm going to do S, and I'm going to just copy paste this command over here. All right, so now S has been assigned those values. All right, so I know this is confusing, but I want to type, if I type S, I get the solution to it. Now, if I type S, and I know S is a listing as 0. Let me show you what this gives me. Right, so someone says, I wonder what that just gave me. Well, it appears that it's given me the first entry of that list. Right, like if I do, again, 0 cents for the first entry. If I do S1, right, that would be the second entry of that list. I'm sure you see a difference between those two, right? So let's do S00. Let's see what happens over there. S0, 0. Remember, if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. Well, it says x equals, right? What's that giving me? Well, the first entry, it's telling me what that is. So it's telling me that x is equal to half square root of 57 plus 9 halves. Now let's talk about the next thing. I'm going to pull this up now. And I'm going to talk about this thing. It's dot. And RHS stands for right-hand side. Well, the right-hand side of that should be 1/2 square root of 57 plus 9 halves. Let's take a look. That's what we're getting. All right? So, someone say, what are you doing now? I want to point out what we're doing now is I'm just going to copy paste it, but I'm also going to talk through it. And this has to pertain to what we're doing in the notes, by the way. So it says, the right-hand side of the first entry of that list should be squared, plus the second entry in that list, the value of it should be squared as well. I'm going to get this over here. I'm going to simplify this by expanding it. And I want to see what I get. And I get 69. All right? Now, if I do the other one, let me point out what I mean by that. If I'm going to go to the second entry of that, so S0 stands for the first, S0 is the second entry there. Let me just type this in. I'm going to just going over this. Whoops, made a mistake. And then I'm going to expand that. And you get 69. All right? So, again, I always says it would help if you look back over the code, of course. And I'm going to say that we did this by hand. And certainly someone says, why would you do it by Sage then? Just to play around with things. See, there's tools to do things, and tools are interesting things to have. So it's really the same problem. Let me just open up my window again. And if you remember, we did this. We did it at the whiteboard. We did it by, I'm going to say, paper and pencil technique. All right? So what did you learn new here? Well, looking back over it, what I learned new, I learned how to assign the solution set to S, and then play around with S by describing it. And list in Sage start with 0. So the first entry is 0, second entry is 1, third entry is 2, so forth and so on. I also realized within those entries there was other entries, so I had to kind of nest my way into it. And some of those were in equation form, so I had a right and left-hand side. All right. Let me just go through that, what the left-hand side would look like. All right. So remember, this is right-hand side. Let's do left-hand side. Let's see what happens. You get x. I hope you see the relationship between the two. All right. Again, you may want to study that code. You want to think about that. That's typical to access the values of the variables in these problems, x and y. Thanks for paying attention.